Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about my Halloween bookshelf. I love organising my books by holiday and season, and this month is my favourite because it's Halloween and it's a great excuse to get all of my Halloween books out and have a look through. Displaying your books like this is really beneficial to children because they can see the books and make a choice based on what they can see rather than having a big stack where they can't really see what they're looking at. There are also a ton of benefits to changing your books out every season. It encourages your children to get more in touch with nature and what's happening in the world around them. It decreases boredom for both the children and the grown-up reading. We've all been there where you just get stuck in a rut reading the same book over and over and over because your children don't really want to make another decision. And this sort of eliminates that problem. So let's dive on in. So the first book I'm going to show you is My Mummy is a Witch. And this book follows a little girl and her mum, and the little girl is telling you all about all of the witchy things that her mum gets up to. This book is absolutely beautifully illustrated. It has gorgeous end papers and all of the story is in this similar sort of colour palette. So it's really calm and gentle. It's not busy or overwhelming. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And then at the end, there is a recipe for dandelion ice cream, which is very sweet, and I'm not sure I'll give that a go, but it's nice to have it. And then it says that this book is by the lady that was on The Great British Bake Off, and I didn't know that when I bought it, so that was quite interesting to find out. Helena Garcia back in 2019. So a lovely, lovely book. The next book I have is The Nightmare Before Christmas by Tim Burton. It's a lot like the film. It has a few changes, but the illustrations are the same. I will be watching the film at some point with my boys, but probably not yet. But I'm very familiar with it, so it was a nice one for me to pick up. Very nostalgic for me. The next one I have to show you is How to Make Friends with a Ghost, and that's by Rebecca Green. This isn't like a typical storybook, it's more of an instructional guide, and it follows this little girl through her trying to make friends with this ghost, and it follows the life of this little girl through right to the end. And it ends with her becoming a ghost herself. So it's quite sweet, it's very gentle. Again, the colour palette's lovely and has gorgeous end papers too. So that's a very lovely one. The next two are from when I was little, and they're Winnie the Witch. I used to absolutely adore Winnie the Witch when I was little. I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with it. Winnie Wilbur. And then this one is just another story of hers about how she loves pumpkins and grows them. And then they take over her house. And then she turns it into a helicopter to go and get her pumpkins. So that's very good. Next one I have is The Witch's Cat. It's a cheeky story about a cat that's making the broth and turns the witch into a toad and all other sorts of animals. Very nice story, very sweet. The next two I have to show you are these two. It's Gustavo the Shy Ghost and Lila the Perfect Witch, and they're by Flavia Z. Drago. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. But the best thing about these, I think, they're gorgeous. They're beautifully illustrated. But this one's Gustavo, and you can spot Lila there. So it's like there's this whole world of all these characters, and you can just imagine their stories. Gustavo is about a ghost who can play the violin, but he's too scared to play in front of people, and it's about him getting his courage to do that. And then Lila is a perfect witch who's good at everything, but she can't bake, and it really upsets her that she's not the best at it. And then she tries her best and practices and gets better and enters the competition, and she still loses. But she learns that winning isn't everything. So that's a very, very sweet story. The next one I have is The Witch's Broom. This one is a story about two best friends, and what are their names? Moira, and I think the other one's Lily. And I think Moira is really, really jealous of Lily. Lily is good at everything, and Moira, she struggles a little bit. And in the end, they sort of discover that they all struggle a little bit, and that's fine. Everyone has different strengths. So really, really sweet story. And again, gorgeous, whimsical, gentle illustrations. Very, very sweet. This one is another one from my childhood. Funny Bones, gorgeous story, really loud and bold colours, a lot of repetition for the kids to get involved with. Beautiful. The next one I have to show you is Room on the Broom. How could we not have a Julia Donaldson story in here? The kids love it. Really good rhyming story. Beautiful. The next one I have is The Little Ghost Who Was a Quilt, and it's a story about gorgeous end papers. No, it's a story about a little ghost who struggles to fit in because he's a quilt and not a sheet like all of his friends. Really nice colour scheme. And in the end, he learns that he has his own strengths and he should just accept who he is. The next one I have was actually given to me by a friend. It's about a little girl who finds a kitten and returns it back to its owner. Little does she know that its owner is a witch. This one's gorgeous. Again, got the gorgeous gentle colour scheme. I think it's a bit of a theme with Halloween books, so they just have these really muted tones where the colours just pop. It's also got a lot of gold foiling. I don't know if you can see that. And it's got cutaways as well in the pages. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, there. So it's got a cutaway in the page, so you can sort of peek through to the next page. And in the end, the witch drops a present off for the girl to say thank you for returning her cat. So that one's lovely. I have this one. There's a couple of these different picker books. There's a Pick a Pine Tree for Christmas, and then I think there's Pick an Easter Egg. It's an absolutely gorgeous story about the run up to Halloween. The illustrations are beautiful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous story to get excited, and shows them all about carving the pumpkins, and then it ends with Halloween, I think, and the more trick-or-treating out in the street. But yeah, it's beautiful. Then I got new for this year, so I've not actually read this one, A World Full of Spooky Stories, 50 Tales to Make Your Spine Tingle. End papers. This one has stories from all over the world. So I thought that might be interesting, and I can just pick up one book and just flick through if I'm in a pinch and need a couple of stories. So they've got from all over the world, these beautiful little title pages. I'm looking forward to reading some of these, and again, pulling it out year after year after year. because I'm sure it'll take me quite a few years to get through all of these stories. Next one I have is Sir Simon. This book is a gorgeous little funny story, and it breaks the fourth wall. That Simon is talking to the reader, which is quite nice. I've not got another one like this in the pile. And then I spoke about this one as well, Pumpkin Soup. Gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. Really traditional. Just a nice story about being patient with your friends. And then I have this book. I don't know what it's about. I got it from the library. It's about a monster under the bed, but that's all I know. I just thought it was really sweet. And we will give it a try with it being a monster over Halloween. Then I picked up this one out of my collection. Just a sweet little story about Pumpkin, who is scared of anything spooky. And then a little boy comes along who is also scared of spooky things, and they sort of get through Halloween together. That's a very sweet story. Then I have this one, which is a retelling of Cinderella. It's actually a bit creepy. I read this, so it's a longer story. But it's actually a bit creepy. I don't really like it. My boys didn't mind it because I think they're too young to sort of know what creepy is, but I thought it looked, I just didn't really like it, so I might sort of hide this one away until I'm feeling braver. And then I have this one, Little Monsters by David Walliams. It's just about a wolf who can't get sort of anything right at his Halloween's in his monster school, but then on Halloween night he ends up sort of finding his crowd because they don't know he's a monster, and it's just spooky, not scary. So he plays a trick on his old school and everything's happy in the end. So yeah, just a nice little story. The next few I have are more interactive. So I have this one, There Is a Monster in Your Book. And this one, you go through and you try and get the monster off the page. So this one, you have to blow him off the page, and then you have to tilt the book and get rid of the monster and flip pages and all sorts. And I think there's quite a few in this sort of setup with a similar sort of format where you're just trying to get the creature or whatever out of the book. This one's a bit of a call and response. So it's who's in the pumpkin, and then you go through the story, who's in the haunted house, not the pumpkin, it's the baby ghost, and the kids can sort of get involved with it that way. And then I have this one, which is 5 Little Ghosts, a Lift the Flap book. So the kids will get lots of enjoyment out of that, and I will be very stressed trying to not let them rip the flaps. So that's fun for the children. I've got a couple of board books as well, which I will let them loose with. This one's 10 Minutes to Bed, Little Monster. Again, there's a couple with this sort of format where it's counting down the minutes to bedtime, which is quite sweet. I have Peekaboo Pumpkin. The kids absolutely adore these Peekaboo books where they get to move the pages. Peekaboo Cats, Peekaboo Potions. They'll get a lot of fun out of that. Then I have this one, which I absolutely adore because I love these sort of vintagey retro style illustrations. B is for Boo, and it's a board book, and it has all of these different pages with the alphabet, and my little toddler Harry is really getting into his alphabet at the moment. He loves, what's that letter called? So he's really enjoying that. And then I have That's Not My Pumpkin. I'm sure you would have seen the That's Not My collection. So just go through and try and find the pumpkin. The last few I have are sort of tenuous for Halloween, but I've stuck them in the pile anyway, just in case I get through those books. There's this one which is called Ghost Orchid, and it's just about a little kid that travels over the world to go and try and find the ghost orchid with the parents, but the parents are only interested in the ghost orchid and miss a lot of amazing things on their way. There's No Such Thing as Monsters. Again, just a sweet little story about monsters under the bed and trying to work through that. Then I have 2 Black Cat books, Sixteen of Sid and Slinky Malinky. Again, I used to love these when I was a kid. Gorgeous traditional illustrations. Lovely little story about a cheeky cat who gets lots of dinners. And then Slinky Malinky, I love these books. I love the rhyming, I love the full art page. And this one is just about a cat who steals everything at night and then gets caught and in a lot of trouble. And then I have The Mist Monster, which is just about this little girl who makes friends with this monster, I think. I can't actually remember. I haven't read it for a little while, but gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations. Oh yeah, she moves into a new house and there's a monster at the bottom of the garden. That helps her. So yes, gorgeous. A lot of books to get through this month. I'm sure the boys and I will enjoy reading them and getting excited for Halloween. Thank you for watching.